Latest on Cyclone Idai, which is still holding on as a weak tropical storm at this time, with winds of 40 miles per hour, that's 65 kilometers per hour, and a pressure near 995 millibars. That's as of 5 p.m. Central African time, this March the 16th. It still has a huge rainfall potential on the CDPS. This is going out into the future, not what's already happened from this storm, but we're still expecting huge amounts of rain, over 600 millimeters for parts of western Mozambique along the border with Zimbabwe. The storm has limped across the border, is now in Zimbabwe at 19.4 south, 31.6 degrees east, a stage 4 on the CDPS at this time, and moving towards the west. At the minute it's 70 miles from Masvingo, 111 from the Zimbabwean capital Harare, 116 from Gweru, 201 from Bulawayo, and 346 from Lusaka across the border in Zambia. Not many areas now under the yellow risk zone for tropical storm conditions. That doesn't mean that all of the other areas are in the clear. As a matter of fact, if we're talking about the rainfall rather than the wind, it's been displaced towards the eastern side of the storm, so the areas that had the worst conditions yesterday are also having the worst conditions today. Here's a look at what we're expecting over the next few days. That rainfall still persisting over parts of Mozambique towards the central part there, and then moving out over the sea there, but generally the whole thing really getting more disorganized and sort of fading into the typical monsoonal pattern of the region. But of course, with the flooding that's already occurred, there's more bad news on the way there, with up to 600 millimeters, as said, in parts of Zimbabwe into Mozambique, pretty much all the areas that have already been affected by the landfall. Sea surface temperatures and land temperatures are accounted on this map here. What you can notice, there's not much else to talk about really, is how much the area has cooled underneath the cyclone. Temperatures down underneath all that cloud. This map is also pretty irrelevant at this time. We're looking for any green colours which symbolise tropical storm conditions. There aren't any over the next few days. The storm is going to lose its remaining tropical storm force winds very soon indeed, and will then fade off into a remnant low. So we're really not looking at any high winds over the next few days, which is what this graph, this chart is showing. A little bit breezy towards the south coming in towards the end of the week, but that's about it. So we're left with this map here showing the chances of tropical storm force winds, 50% in Mutare and 30% in Harare in Zimbabwe. Not much else to say on that one. Those percentage chances will continue to diminish over the coming hours. The storm has so far killed probably over 170 people at this time, and that number unfortunately is expected to rise. This chart isn't showing as much, it's actually an old graphic anyway, so I'm going to talk over that really. Wind shear would have remained low. If it was over water still, the sea surface temperatures were very high, but thankfully the storm has not re-emerged over the water to give another cause for concern, which is what the models were calling for a few days before the storm made landfall. It is going to continue to move inland, but it will continue to deliver huge amounts of rain to areas that really don't need it. Here you can see what's been going on. The centre of the storm is in Zimbabwe, but the main rainfall from the storm so far has remained in Mozambique, as you can quite clearly see on this satellite imagery. Massive convection still to the east, the centre of the storm looking pretty devoid, but the centre is well over the border now. Still some significant rainfall occurring in Zimbabwe at this time, and that will probably increase throughout tonight and into tomorrow morning. So things still far from over from this catastrophic storm. Stay tuned for more updates. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com. You can also find our YouTube channel. If you're not there already, you may well be. Good chance of that. Subscribe if you haven't. You can also find our Facebook page, search Force 13 all in text, and our Twitter handle, it's @Force13 on there. You can also help the project become even better by becoming a patron. You can see more information about all the benefits involved by visiting patreon.com/Force13. Of course, you can come into direct contact with us by messaging Fool13 on Discord at extension 9094 and Force13 on Skype, and our partners are also doing updates, Mateo e Cyclone Maurice on Facebook.